Exhaustion, and welcome to the I Ching Cafe and for our weekly I Ching overview for the week commencing the 12th of June 2023. Last week, as you remember, we had a locked hexagram. We had work on what has been spoiled, hexagram 18, tidying up the garden, getting our admin in order, focusing on bringing to light areas of our life, of our business, of our team life, where there is chaos, where things have been left to go to seed, and now we have all this work to do to sort it out and get stuck in and get it ready for the next stage of our development. So what were you weeding last week? What was the process of chaos into order that was gripping your attention and your imagination? Where was the chaos coming to show you a path to order, be it with some serious hard work to repair and renew what has gone amiss and awry? Okay, so please do share a comment if there was something evidential for you last week that you were sorting out. This week, no locked hexagram. We have two changing lines, okay, and I'll get to those in a few minutes' time. But first up, let us look at what is the first flow of change that the I Ching is asking us to really grapple with and work with this week. Our first hexagram for this week is hexagram 32, duration, or called endurance, or fixing the omen. So we're going to unpack this hexagram. So our life will bring to us this week some kind of insight, a focus of where we are needing to zoom in to an area of our life where we are needing to stabilize and endure and persevere and fix the omen. I love this concept from Stephen Karsha so much. I thought I would explain a little bit more. He talks about this idea with this hexagram of the process, the ritual of fixing the omen. And what he means by that is that we in life come across things that are inspirational to us, interesting to us, that move us. Take, for example, you've had a dream, okay? You've had this dream where this very interesting symbol comes up to you, and the symbol represents an interesting process, an important development process you're going through. And what can happen, most of us, we just kind of gloss over it and we don't worry about what has come up in this dream, this symbolic metaphor that has come to help us. But you can do something with it, and you can perhaps go and find a picture that connects to what you experienced in the dream and put it up on your fridge with a magnet. And every time you walk to go and get your tea or coffee, you come past it, and the symbol of what it meant to you stays and is reconnected and deepened each time you see it. That is called fixing the omen, okay? Where we take a symbol, we take a spiritual experience, we take an idea, we take substance, the generative, creative process, and we anchor it into the physical world, into our physical experience by giving it form, okay? And so this hexagram comes to teach us that this week we are fixing the omen. We are taking an idea and we are grounding that idea. We are manifesting that idea through how we show up in the physical world. The substance and the form we wrap around the idea. So that might be quite a high, big idea. Okay, let's perhaps take it down a few notches into some practical thoughts. The idea of endurance, think about endurance athletes, okay? Duration is the long-term nature of things of value, okay? You can have, and you see this in your world around you, things that pop out of nowhere and they're high energy and they suddenly arrive out of nowhere. But getting that idea to last a lifetime, getting a brand to last a lifetime, getting a concept, a philosophy to last a lifetime requires a very special treatment, and that is persevering commitment to endurance and showing up and keeping at it. In our society, this is my personal view, this notion of endurance is not well celebrated. You know, we can see a marathon runner who runs for kilometers and miles, and we celebrate that, yes. But do we celebrate the person who shows up in the same way in their lives every single day? Do we celebrate people who have rituals that they stick to religiously every single day? we tend to put these kind of ideas over those situations as, oh, so boring, so predictable, can't live in the moment, not spontaneous, so stuck. We have all these preconceived ideas. And maybe in your life, you've looked at someone who epitomizes this idea of a plodder, someone who keeps on showing up, that endures and perseveres and just keeps on going, and maybe shows up in their life from your point of view in the same way every day. But the world is held together by those people. They fix the omen. They take the idea and they bring it into ritual, into routine. They take the symbol and they manifest the symbol into concrete daily action. A little bit like that concept of daily deliberate action I spoke about a while back for Hexagram 53. This is going the long distance. And of course, if you think about a wind that's blowing, that's continuing to blow, right? If that wind peters out and loses its way and dabbles here and dabbles there, it loses its power. But when that wind, think of the canyon in a way being carved out by water, that endurance, that perseverance, the same thing every day, it has the miraculous effect of being able to make huge differences in our world. So what does this mean for us this week as we work with this hexagram? I would suspect, let's see what happens for you, but I would suspect that we are going to have the opportunity to re-look at some of the rituals that we have in our lives that are very empowering related to this hexagram, and habits in our lives that are disempowering. And what we look for when we think about this hexagram, we look for where do we show up in a ritualistic way every day. And because of that ritual, we keep on moving forward. We accelerate and continue to move forward. And where we rebel against routine because we somehow have this notion that that is the opposite of freedom. Well, my view is that freedom comes through the ritual, through the routine, through the endurance and the showing up every day. And it's when we do the little things like we meditate every day at the same time, or we get up early at the same time every day. We brush our teeth, numerous times a day. We shower, or we bathe, we clean our minds, we clean our bodies, we make our bed. These are little rituals in life where we are fixing the omen. We are taking the idea and we are fixing it in our physical world. We are creating a container, into which things can flow. And the way we create the container is through that boring routine of being consistent in temperament, consistent in action, and just showing up, being reliable. And you might be thinking, oh, that's so boring. When we are reliable and we keep showing up and we're consistent in character, there is so much that we can do. There's so much that comes from the people around us. You get power when you are consistent. You get power when you keep on showing up. You get power by sticking to rituals that help you, Not rituals that are your undoing, because we probably have those too, but rituals that put us into a routine, that give our neurons a little guidepost to say everything's okay. We're getting up every day. We're getting up at the same time. There's a cup of coffee that starts the day, and then we have our shower, and we create these rituals in life, and they are incredibly important. This week, we're going to celebrate those. We're going to find ways of getting out of the chaos, out of the chaotic thinking, that freedom means abandoning all rituals, any kind of certainty, any kind of form, and just going wild, We're going to really look at ourselves and our consciousness this week on that issue. So there are two changing lines, as I mentioned, for this week, in the third and the fifth position. In the third position, what is the challenge this line brings? Changing line 3 is a little tricky. It's the line that's at the top of the bottom trigram. It's about to cross the chasm from the inner trigram, the bottom one, to the outer trigram. So it tends to be a little tricky. We haven't made a crossing or transition or a transformation yet. And this line says, we have the risk this week of being totally at the mercy of our own internal emotional and mental turmoil. Now maybe this is the emotional and mental turmoil of others. So there might be other people around you who are going through the turmoil, and as a result of that, they unravel you because you let it unravel you, okay? But let's focus on ourselves and what we can control. We can control how we respond to others, and we can control how we let our own ups and downs and swings in mood, okay? Whether it's hormone related or food related or lack of sleep related or just being a moody character, okay? We let these moods influence us, and this gets us off course, okay? We now lose our endurance, our plodding, our focus, our moving forward, our ritual, because this drama, okay, takes us off course. So this week, as we start off the week, this is something we need to focus on. Where might our own internal emotional and mental turmoils and noise be undoing this ability to endure and persevere? And where do we let other people's turmoil unravel the rituals of life that we're trying to create? So that is line 3. In line 5, we have a deepening of this message of dedication, rededication, commitment to perseverance. So whatever the week brings you, with changing line 5, there is opportunity to really tap into this hexagram, into this energy, if we commit to perseverance. So if you are on an exercise regime or eating regime or a sleep regime, whatever it is that you're trying to instill as a habit, as a ritual, the I Ching says, dedicate, persevere. Dedicate, persevere. Double down, intensify your dedication to persevering through all the things you need to do. So this week, that's what our attention is being drawn to, is persevering, is demonstrating our commitment to ritual of our lives, to fixing the omen, to creating the container. Okay, so just remember, dedication to perseverance. If you hit obstacles, if you hit challenges, find ways around them, double down, take a moment, step back from the challenge, just take a deep breath and go back in. Don't have a tantrum, don't throw it away, don't just knock it over and say, I can't deal with this. Take a breather, that's acceptable. Go back in, persevere, an unending commitment to perseverance. And there's something that awaits us this week. If we can do that, then we can unlock something that we're needing to do. So those two changing lines, line 3, line 5, hexagram 32 duration, where does that lead us to? Well, the second hexagram always gives us a second layer of insight. Yes, it's a transformative energy. The first one transforms into the second. You'll tend to find that at the end of the week, okay, the second hexagram is stronger. Okay, it starts off as a small energy, it builds up throughout the week. But as a whole, you can take those two energies as two flows, working in parallel, two key flows of change that we are working with. And I'm sorry to say that this week it is hexagram 47, exhaustion. Okay, this hexagram from the structure, you can see the water has dropped. Okay, the water's on the bottom and the lake is on the top. The lake, she likes to rise up and water likes to sink down. So visually you can see the water table has dropped below the level of the lake. Okay, so we're looking at the lake and it's no longer full of water. The water table has dropped. Okay, it's below, underground and out of sight. So you can imagine a dried up riverbed, okay, a cracked, dried riverbed as a symbol, seeing as we're fixing the omen, as a symbol of this exhaustion. Okay, so what does that mean? It means that some area of our life, there's some kind of drying out, desiccation, or exhaustion of resources. Might be the bank account, might be there's a whole lot of bills you've had to pay, and a whole lot of things shifting out of the account, and what was nice and full and plump is now not so much. It might be that cash doesn't come in that you thought, and you're looking at the bank account and you're worried about this. Where's the flow of cash? Okay, maybe clients are delaying on payment or you're waiting on something. It could be that you are physically smashed, okay, exhausted. Perhaps there's something in your life where you've been gunning for something and gunning and working, and it's been lots of work and lots of pressure, and suddenly you reach a kind of a process of, oh, nearly, okay, I am flattened. What do we do with this hexagram? It's not personal. It's not your fault, okay? What we can control is how we respond to it. We're not going to go into the depths of woe on this, right? What we are going to do is we're going to embrace the exhaustion and say, yes, my bank account is temporarily exhausted. Yes, I am temporarily exhausted, okay? And that might be mentally, emotionally, physically, whatever it is, right? The word temporarily is really important because it is that. It is about, for now, this is what it is. You can't force it to be something else. Now, it's just for this week, okay? So hang in there. Next week is different. But for this week, there's some aspect of our exhaustion we're needing to recognize and say, nothing I can do about this. What I can do is I can take care of myself, okay? If you are physically, emotionally, mentally exhausted, there are things that you can do to accept it and to take responsibility for how you self-care. And of course, if you have a financial issue and, okay, do what you can, just trust the process. It's temporary, okay? Don't panic. Don't go wild and try and do wild things to try and force the exhaustion. The water has dropped, okay? There's nothing you can do about that. Just wait it out. Get creative with how you use the time in a different way to divert your energy from obsessing about the exhaustion and divert and refocus your energy into a creative process. That's how we deal with this energy of exhaustion. And I trust that if it does touch your life, it does so in a tiny little wisp of a way that brings you insight on where you might have a tendency for exhaustion, but doesn't cripple you this week. Right, enjoy the week ahead and take that time out where you can find a time to rejuvenate and just be present with your recuperation process. And of course, if this was meaningful, please like and share. It'd be really great. And of course, always, if you are new to the channel and you'd like to get the podcast episodes or the YouTube videos straight into your app as they land, go and hit that subscribe, okay, and join me on the regular. And of course, I'll see you on the socials. Thank you so much. See you soon.